Alright, you guys, I've been busting my ass trying to get this thing done. Now, it has been a crazy couple weeks, and we got some good news, we got some bad news. So, let's go over a build update and talk about some of the shit that happened over the last couple weeks. So, for starters, the good news. We got this car painted, and it turned out awesome. I think I covered that in the last video pretty well. You guys could tell I was pretty excited. It might be hard to tell. I've been working on this car for so long that I've lost all of my ability to show emotion on stuff sometimes. So, but you know, I'm just blown away by this color. I absolutely love it. And it turned out great. So that's some good news. Another thing you can see, we started laying some masking tape out on the car, just trying to kind of come up with a sponsor logo layout, kind of a livery, stuff like that. You can see what we're doing here. We're sticking with what I had on the GTO, the RX-7. We're sticking with that simple stripe design, but we're gonna have a gold stripe coming up the side of it here, and then I think we're gonna do slightly fading back, smaller black tracer lines going down it to kind of just like fade out with small gaps between them. We're drawing a couple things up right now, so trying to come up with a good design for that. But you know, aside from that, laying out graphics, Sancor Composite Technologies hooked me up with this wing for the car. Same company that did the carbon fiber side skirts and the carbon fiber splitter for the car. And not only that, they also made the carbon fiber hood that was on the GTO. They do fantastic carbon fiber work and build some incredibly strong products. So, but it is a wing, and I have a tendency of running walls, so we'll see how well it holds up. And believe it or not, this wing is actually not for a Mustang. That is a Corvette wing that we just kind of made fit. I like the styling of it, and no more big wang gang, sorry guys. Kind of changing this whole styling up on this car. Mustang had a big wing on it, RX-7 had a big wing on it. Both those cars were vinyl wrapped, this car's painted. I mean, I'm basically doing a full 180 on my styling. The only thing I'm changing on, or not changing, should I say, is the livery aspect of it, because I like really clean, simple liveries. I don't like stuff being cluttered all over the car or big printed crazy liveries. I just like something nice, clean, subtle. And we drew up a couple things like with the stripe, and drew up an idea of maybe putting a stripe down the side up at the top of the door, and then doing like black tracers down after that. But I think it just looked too cluttered. We are doing the black center though, so like we had on the RX-7 and the Mustang, or on the GTO, we're gonna follow this line up around here and do the center of the hood black, and then you can see where I have taped off there, that's gonna be black down the center as well. Unfortunately, I didn't have time to build a roof scoop to it, so Jelani's gonna be really happy that I'm not putting a roof scoop on it, because he's been telling me not to put a roof scoop on it ever since that roof scoop's been sitting on there. Other things I got done. Got the polycarbonate windows cut out today, and that was fun because I actually bought this stuff at Lowe's. It was only like 30 bucks or 35 bucks for a sheet of it, and I had to make 2 trips because I went to Lowe's to pick one up this morning when I grabbed some hardware and stuff, and was looking through the racks, and it's like, okay, acrylic, like I can't use any of that shit, that'll shatter. I was like, okay, polycarbonate, there's polycarbonate. Grabbed a sheet, went home, cut it out, and then went to go drill a hole in it, and it cracked. So this is the first one I built, and it cracked, and I was like, what? I've never had polycarbonate crack like that. What the hell? So I grabbed the big sheet out of it, and there was a sticker on it that said acrylic, and somebody stuck an acrylic sheet in the rack with the polycarbonate, and kind of screwed myself. Obviously I can't return it, I already cut it all, and wasted 30 bucks on that, so it is what it is. I mean, it's one of those things that happens, you know, sometimes you just waste money on shit like that, but yeah, it's enough of me complaining about that. Let's move onward. As you can see, I got the dash all reinstalled, the car is rewired and everything. I got all the plumbing and everything done for the intercooler. Tested all the wiring out for that. Everything works really good. Pumps and all that turn on. So I have the water pump for the ice box right there, and that works. While I was at it, I went ahead, threw a relay in for the fuel pump and the water pump, checked all that stuff to make sure all that turns on, and it does. Hose clamps are all tightened. Finished up. I went ahead and finished up all the wiring and everything in here. I do need to put some type of a dust shield in there though to protect that fuse block a little bit better, because I don't want a ton of rubber getting up in there. This side over here I'm not really too concerned about because there's nothing really over there, but with all the wire harnesses and stuff right there, I'm going to want to put a dust shield on there, so I'll probably cut something out of ABS plastic to make that. But you know, like I said, went around, tightened all this stuff up, all the fuel lines are tightened up, and the electrical system is like good to go. And then earlier today, my buddies Chance and Tyler came over and we bled the brakes on the car. This thing's fun to get into. Oh no, I turned that power off. So we bled all the brakes on the car. We had a couple leaks here and there. One of them was a bad flare, a couple of them were just fittings that I forgot to tighten, and went through, tightened all that stuff up, and now we have really good pedal pressure. We also did the handbrake while we were at it. So the handbrake is nice and tight. Everything powers on in the car. Headlights work. I think the underbody lights are on right now. Might be able to see. Yeah, underbody lights. That is a solenoid for my catch tank. Makes it nice and easy to drain the catch tank with that. Fans. So what we have here is, this is PCM ignition. That's for the fuel pump. There's no relay in the fuel pump right now because I don't want to accidentally hit that and run it dry. This switch here controls the fans and water pump. That way I can actually run them both at the same time while the car is off if I need to cool it. Headlights, party lights, and actually, turn the headlights on. I should have brake lights now. Yeah, so brake lights work. The reason I said "and" now is because without the brakes being bled, I couldn't check the brake lights before because I just put a pressure switch on it. They're super easy to run in line with systems like this, so you don't have to worry about mounting like a switch to your brake pedal. It's just 1/8 inch MPT and just run it in line, and when it has pressure it turns the lights on. So simple enough. Got the dash wired up. Steering wheel on, throttle pedal, all that stuff's done. This thing is getting very, very close to actually being finished. A couple more things to order and buy, but we're really close to being done with this car. Steering wheel hook. So earlier today, I actually went ahead and ordered up the wastegates and all of the tubing and V-bands to build the exhaust system for the car. So once the engine is built and in the car, we'll be able to knock that out in hopefully a day or 2 days. Make it real quick. We're doing a steel downpipe and then aluminum from the downpipe back to save a little bit out on weight, and honestly save a little bit on money because aluminum is way cheaper than stainless. especially when you get up into like 4-inch tubing and stuff like that. So aside from all that, another cool thing that I got on this car, and when I say cool, I mean this thing is cool. So before, on the back of this car, I had an expansion tank and a recovery tank in the back here. And then Canton Racing just came out with this. And this thing is awesome. It is a 2-in-1 expansion and recovery tank. So this side is the expansion tank, this side is the recovery tank, and it has an internal tube in it for the overflow. So when like the expansion tank overpressurizes and it needs to bleed fluid or air out, it actually has a tube internally that goes down into the bottom of the other tank. That way when the cooling system cools back down, sucks it back out of the recovery tank, back into the cooling system, and it's all in one unit, so it's really awesome. Had to just get a couple fittings to adapt it, put it together. I actually didn't have the right size NPT to 6AN adapter for this, so I just welded a 6AN onto it. Obviously, ideally, you'll just buy the right adapters for it, but you know, I'm broke, and I'm working with what I got. And I had a fitting, so I just welded it on. But yeah, so that thing is awesome. Check it out at Canton Racing Products, and you know, pick one up. It's way more convenient than running 2 tanks. Save you a little bit of money on lines, stuff like that too. Lines, fittings, stuff like that adds up. So back of the car, all back together. This is our, if anybody hasn't seen this yet, this is the fuel filler neck right here. So it's fuel filler neck, and we actually have a fuel gauge in the back of the firewall, so you can keep an eye on it when you're actually filling the tank. Makes it a little bit easier, convenient, stuff like that. And yeah, this thing's coming along. Now for the good and bad news that I was talking about earlier. Good news is my engine is back from the machine shop. Got the block back, got the heads back. Went through Friday when it came in, and I measured all of the bores on everything. So like they line honed everything and went through, measured everything like that. And everything, believe it or not, was within specs of OE tolerances to run OE bearings. So good news. The bad news is the machining work was originally supposed to cost me like $900, and the bill ended up being almost $1,500 because the fucking machine shop did a bunch of stuff I didn't ask them to do. So I did a video on porting my heads and lapping valves and stuff like that, and they did a fucking valve job on my heads for some reason and charged me like $300 or $400 for a valve job. And I was, you know, it's like, dude, I already did it. I already lapped the valves. They had good seats on them. You didn't need to do a valve job. Take that off the bill. And they're like, oh, we already did it. We can't take it off the bill. So yeah, I got fucked on that. So my machining bill ended up costing me, you know, $400 or $500 more than it should have. They did bore it out a lot more than they thought they were gonna have to bore it out. So without the head work, it would have only ended up, it still would have ended up being around $1,100 or something like that, which, you know, $200 on top of it. I was honestly expecting as like a window there of $200, so that's fine. But the valve job thing kind of really pissed me off, and just one of those things. And now the only things I have left to buy for this is I need injectors, I need to get tires. Definitely need to get tires, and I need to get harnesses. So I need to get the specific Hans harness for the car, and you know, we're probably a good $800-900 off of getting this thing done, and I already registered for my first event. So first event for this car is going to be at Grid Life Midwest. So we are registered. We are going to be there with this car one way or another. So if you want to help support me getting there, I gotta use all the help I can get, and I'm not about that GoFundMe life, I'm about that GoFund yourself life. So if you want to go to ShaneWhaleyRacing.com and pick up some shirts or something like that, you know, a little bit gets kicked back to me, and help me put some more money into getting this thing actually out on the track. If you want. If you don't want to, you're not obligated to. These videos are free to watch. But that's gonna be it for this one. So you know the routine. Like the video if you liked it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Follow the build along. It's almost done. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys later.